Hey guys, we're the Hard Time Strongmen podcast, starting up a better class of man. And today we have an episode inspired by Reaper11's post on Instagram not too long ago. This is going to be titled Hide and Go Seek Sensitive Items, Hotel Rooms. So Reaper's post, if you don't already follow Reaper, follow him at Reaper Consultation on Instagram. We'll also link the post in question in the description. But I really liked this post, this thought exercise specifically. So the basic situation, basic concept that Reaper laid out was you're out traveling in a non-permissive country, so a tyrannical surveillance state. There's no rights to self-defense. There's just not a lot of great stuff happening. And you witness a crime against humanity. Upon witnessing this crime, you take pictures and videos of said crime with your digital camera. But in doing so, you are noticed by enemy soldiers. So these soldiers take a squad-sized element and they enter the hotel room you're staying in order to pursue you and, dig up any evidence that you gathered. You have 5 minutes to hide the SD card containing the evidence. You only have what's with you, what would reasonably be with you if you're traveling to such a country. And in this scenario, we're assuming that you are a protected citizen of a neighboring country, so you will not, you will not be killed. You'll be roughed up a little bit. They'll take your stuff, but they won't kill you. But that's basically it. You have a very limited time frame. You have very limited resources available, but you cannot let this SD card fall into the enemy's hands. I love this concept. I love the idea. I love the thought experiment. I love the conversations that got rolling in the comments and all the ideas that people were putting out. Hide and Go Seek is a timeless game. It is a children's game that just generation to generation, and it just gives you that primal, fight or flight kind of sense, right? I mean, even kids are, you just get so worked up at. I don't care how old you are. Like it's a thrill, but it gives that kind of urgency, that kind of violence of action into a context that honestly isn't that far off. So for the episode today, our example, we're going to change up a little bit. We're going to take the heart, the foundation of that conversation, and we're going to just expand it a little bit. So as we talk through all these different hide options, we're going to try to open this up to where is possibly applicable to you. So an SD card, a USB hard drive, money, credit cards, debit cards, IDs, passports, documents, whatever would be applicable to you as a sensitive item. Imagine that is what you are trying to hide. So with that being said, do you want to go ahead and give our listeners our situation?
So our situation is you are traveling in a civilian context to a country that is non-permissive, so tyrannical in nature. You are staying in a hotel room where you are spotted by the regime. The foot soldiers of the regime start moving towards your location. What are you doing? So you're going to be hiding the sensitive item, whether that be an SD card, USB drive, identifying a ring or other article, documents, pictures, cards, codexes, whatever. You got 5 to 10 minutes to hide the item or items before you and your room are presumably and thoroughly searched. You only have what would be reasonably available to you or what you would reasonably travel with in this scenario.
Hey guys, this is 6 and 7. We want to take a break from the episode to tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Blackbeard Fire Starters.
We've had Blackbeard Firestarter in our kit for years, ever since they came out with the Firestarter rope, which was seemingly powered by black magic. It was waterproof, it was windproof, it just worked.
And since then, nothing's changed. In fact, they've gone even better. They added their fire plugs, they started selling waterproof matches, ferro rod, arc lighters. You can't say anything now, but they're continuing to grow, and I feel like they're only going to get better with age. And on top of sponsoring the show, keeping the lights on for us, they're also offering a 15% discount on anything in their store if you use code STRONGMEN.
head on over to their website at blackbeardfire.com. You can check out their entire inventory and see what works best for you. And like we said, at checkout, use code STRONGMEN, one word, to get 15% off your order.
Thanks, guys. Now back to the episode. Right. So the principles that we're trying to, to get you all thinking about in this exercise, something that you can be practicing, thinking about anyways, is using what tools are at your disposal. If you're saying, but 6, 7, I don't have tools, fix that. Start carrying tools. It's not
what are you doing?
Difficult.
What are you doing?
Use your imagination. Exactly. What are you doing? Anything can be useful. Nothing is wasted. Put yourself in the mindset of your pursuers, the search party. What will they look for? Where will they look? Where are they going to overlook? Use your head. And if time, energy, and resources permit, use decoys and self-management. Don't give off any tells. Be a good liar. So I saw a lot of back and forth in the comments of his post on what you would be carrying, what you would reasonably be have while you're traveling. And he's getting kind of mad about so many people giving the idea of like taping it somewhere. It's like, where are you going to have tape? Why do you have tape when you're traveling? But I saw a lot of really good retorts. So one of them you posted was using a Band-Aid. It's a freaking great idea. That's a great fix for that.
I mean, for his scenario,
if you don't have a boo-boo kit in your travel kit, you're wrong.
For his scenario, it was you have like 5 minutes to hide an SD card. I'm like, well, that's reasonably freaking small. So, I mean, you stick part of the Band-Aid, put the SD card on the Band-Aid, go out in the hall, tape it to the bottom or the back of a freaking fire extinguisher.
Right.
Not that hard.
Yeah, I don't know whose original idea that was, but you add on the Band-Aid. But I love that. I really love that idea of just like getting out away from your room. Something else that we talked about in the pre-show was, I carry moleskin all the time. I have kids, I carry Band-Aids anyways, but if I wanted more surface area, I have moleskin, which is another fix for that. Something that I really love. So talking about the, like going out in the hallway to a fire extinguisher. So, I think probably my favorite comment on there was one guy said, just leave. LOL.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to pinpoint a room, like from the ground floor outside, like just based off of a window. That I couldn't. Like that's a reasonably difficult skill to master. And I'd have to guess just your Joe Schmo, foot shoulder dudes aren't going to have that skill set right off the bat. So they're going to spend more than 5 minutes trying to get to your room just because they don't know what freaking room it is. Process of elimination, you can narrow that down, decently by, good critical thinking. But by the time they work all that through, you've changed your shirt and you bounced.
Right. That's almost like the Jason Bourne principle. I mean, in Reaper's scenario, it was you were on the 10th floor. It's like, how long is it going to take those guys to not only just to pinpoint your room, but then also get up to your room? So when that guy just said, "Hey, just leave," right. Yeah, he's not wrong. Just leave.
Right.
Leave. Have layers on, and as you're going, just start peeling layers. You're changing stuff. Throw on a hat. Throw on sunglasses. It's. I mean, I get they're gonna try and find you, but I mean, how hard is it to actually to really pick out details unless you have binoculars or something from somebody 10 floors up? Think about that.
Yeah, and they're not gonna see your bottom half, right? So it's like, oh, dude in a dark shirt and a hat. All right, throw on a white shirt. Like that helped immensely. By the time that those dudes, ran up those 10 floors or, used the elevators or whatever, you're talking about only a squad size element. Depending on the size of the hotel, it's not a hard ask. Yeah. But I did love that answer. Just like, the simple stuff's, more often than not the best case, but sticking with the spirit of the, of the game, right? So say we stayed in our room, or at least adjacent to our room, right? I really liked somebody put down inside a stick of deodorant.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Hyperextend deodorant, take the deodorant out, throw in the bottom of that, throw the cap back on with the deodorant in
Mhm.
there. I have no idea. That was a really good fix. Sliding the SD card in between the vent slots of the TV. I loved that one. That was cool. Because they were saying even if they use like an electronic, a sweep for like electronics, it's in a TV.
Yeah. The
It's not
hard
going to
part
go
in
off
my mind
anything
would be
extra.
yeah, the hard part in my mind would be getting it out of there again.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that would be difficult. That would be difficult. But I like, dude, if I was the search party, I wouldn't be looking inside the TV for an
No,
SD card. No,
no.
absolutely
There's
not.
lots of places I wouldn't be looking.
And then my last favorite one from the comments was putting it inside the curtain rod in the shower. So just taking it down, opening it up, throwing it in the hollow tube, and then reassembling it. That was another
Mhm.
really great fix. I thought that was awesome.
Mm.
But going on to our own personal ideas. So my thought, and people might not like this answer from, I haven't traveled to a environment where I'm not allowed to have a knife, but I'm assuming I'm going to have my Milwaukee Fastback, and I would just cut a slit in whatever cheap carpet is in my hotel room, and then I would slide it in there. If it caused some of those, some loose strands to fray, I would cut those strands, and no one would ever be the wiser. You could even do it underneath furniture or near the corner of room or somewhere that's not like right in the middle, right in the first place you look, maybe in a closet. I mean, no
Right.
one's gonna freaking see it as long as you don't tear up the whole thing. I mean, like a 2-inch slit, no one's gonna see that.
Yeah, and this is all presuming that we're operating with a SD card, not something big like a passport or a laptop or
Exactly, exactly. Yes. So, like, but it would still work for like a credit card, debit card, ID, or small thin items. That would definitely work.
correct. Yeah.
I also think so. My my fastback, so it's essentially just a flip out knife, and the knife is just a utility razor, but the opposite end has a double sided um, screw bit. So
Mhm.
it has Phillips on one side and a flathead on the other. I was thinking my knee jerk reaction, besides just cutting a slit in the carpet, was just disassembling the Ethernet port on the wall. Take the two
Yeah,
screws out, throw the SD card in the box, and close it back up again.
yeah, I like that.
And also, you can think a little bit outside the box. So, if you carry Ziplocs just to keep like your shampoos or conditioners or whatever small items waterproof in your bag, you know, vets or people that have been around for long enough are gonna have pill bottles. So pill bottles will make whatever you put in there reasonably waterproof. So I had the I found a couple ideas that I found in there. So throwing whatever item in there in a pill box, and then putting it in the fill tank of the toilet, not just banging around in there, because anyone who's seen Wanted, that was the movie. Anybody who's seen Wanted will seen that scene where he hid the pistol inside the fill tank, and they'll know to look in there. But
Yeah,
if you put it in the actual fill bubble, if that unscrews, you can unscrew that, throw it in there. No one's going to look inside that, or the actual fill valve. So flush toilet that opens up, throw it in there, close it. They're not going to flush the toilet just to check underneath there.
housekeeping might.
I mean, I'm not talking about housekeeping. I was talking about a squad of freaking Joes looking for an SD card or
True.
whatever. They don't even know what they're looking for. Someone just told them to go bust down this dude's door.
Yeah, get his camera, whatever.
Yeah. Or if you're
Yeah,
close enough to like a pool or something, you take your pool ball and just, if you can throw it in there without anybody thinking about it, just throw that in there and collect it later.
big problem with that though is it's going to float on the surface unless you put like a weight inside of it.
It could float all the way to the filter.
True, like I mentioned
But
earlier, high
also,
pool filter
right, but they're going to be looking for in the room, not in the pool.
in the pool,
So
correct? Unless they
you'd worry
see a
about
couple.
people.
unless they see something dropping from 10 stories up. But
Right. I'm not saying 10 stories. I'm just saying, like, in this situation, right?
yeah,
It's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're hiding whatever sensitive item, whatever floor thing that's applicable to you, right?
Right.
I also thought my last thought was, how there's a little bit of give in carpet depending on the thickness. If you could flex the carpet down underneath the trim board on the side, like you might
I
be
mean,
able
just
to just get in just enough to slide it underneath the baseboard.
yeah. I mean, there's also you go into the hallway of any hotel, chances are there's going to be a trash can out there. You could just
Hmm.
tip, slide underneath it, put it back, and just no tools needed. You could hide it
Right.
under a vase in the hallway. I mean, if you had gum, you could stick it to the gum, stick it up underneath a table that's out in the hallway. You see decorative tables out there all the time.
Pill
You got
bottle, throw in the ice
uh,
machine.
you could you
Throw
could
in a pill
yeah.
bottle, just shove it deep into the ice machine. No one's
I
gonna
mean,
win
hell, if
that.
you climb up on top of something, you could get it up into a light fixture.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, even the elevator. If you're in the elevator, just 9 times out of 10, there's some kind of panel that can move. You can just move it, slide that thing in there, and you're good.
Right.
Like, there's lots of places you can hide this stuff. The trick is just A, number one, don't get caught. So you go back and get it. And B, remember where the hell you put the thing.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and just being quick about it. So not like
That's
indecision, to slow you down.
right. And that's one of the big things too that a lot of people don't think about with fieldcraft or tradecraft is that so if you can get into something, if it doesn't take a long time to hide something, it won't take a lot of time for you to be able to retrieve it. But it's also not going to be that well hidden 9 times out of 10. But if it does take you a while to hide something, say you cut a hole in the sheetrock of a wall, put like a full on hard drive in the wall, replaster it, mud it, paint it, it's hidden. Nobody's going to look for it.
Right.
Like, what are they
But
going to do?
that's
Tear
a
the
big time
wall
hack.
apart? But it's a time hack, and it's going to take a while for you to get to it as well, because then you're going to have to remember where it is, and then you're going to have to tear the wall apart to get to it. You're not going to be able to hastily get it out of there.
Right.
So you're talking speed versus concealability on this.
Hmm.
But like we discussed, there are ways in those 5 minutes of hiding something fairly well in the amount of time that you have. Is it going to take you about 5 minutes to completely disassemble that piece in the toilet? Probably. So
Most
again,
likely. It just
again,
depends on what you can get away with.
speed versus concealment. Exactly. Exactly, man.
Yeah. But I loved all the comments in there. People were going all sorts of different directions, and I really loved the imagination
Right.
that took
It
place. A lot of people thinking outside the box there, which was really, really cool to see.
yeah, and a lot of times with fieldcraft too, it's just the only limit is your imagination. Period.
Yep, absolutely. But my big thing, and that's why I really love these kind of games, because this is something that is drilled into you since you're a kid.
Hmm.
Right. So using things that are applicable, things that are fun to do, things that stick, and just applying them to these serious situations, right? But, specifically putting yourself in someone else's shoes, it's a huge, huge asset, huge skill. Uh, but just being able to think like the searcher. So, okay, if I was looking for this thing, where would I look? What would be my last option? What would I win? What
Mhm.
what would I even consider? And then putting it there.
Right. Yeah. It is. These type scenarios are all about outthinking who's going to be coming up there, because if I'm imagining this, it's going to be okay. How likely are these guys going to be to some of the guys that we served with? If they're a squad size element of infantry who are pissed off and coming up there, they're probably going to tear apart that freaking room because they know something's
Right.
there. But
Right.
there is a limit.
Yeah.
They are going to be at some point, they're going to give up. They just are. And you gotta think of what that point is. What are how far are they going to go to find something before they give up? So, in my mind, okay, if you're hiding an SD card, they're gonna go in there, they're gonna tear apart the bed. They may go so far as to slash the bed, tear it apart, trying to find it. They'll flip things over, they'll pull drawers out of things, trying to look on the bottom of it, behind it. They'll tip stuff over. So, they're going to tear that room apart. And in my mind, that means that room is not where I'm going to be hiding that thing.
Exactly. I was gonna say
Hands down.
not the next room though.
Yeah, not the next
They're not gonna
room.
do that to the next room.
Very likely not the hallway. But the
I
problem
was
with the
gonna say they're not
hallway
gonna
is
do that to the hallway.
you might have cameras out there.
Right.
So
Right.
that's where it's going to be tricky because if you can pull it off and tape something to the bottom of a table or a fire extinguisher because there's high amounts of traffic out there, people running in the hallways or whatever, if this to distract the camera, or at least whoever's looking at the camera feed, then you're good.
Right.
All it takes is to hide something for a short amount of time until those guys are out of there and you can
Mm.
come back and get it. So
Right.
that may be a stick of gum, that may be a stick of moleskin, that may be a band aid, whatever.
Putting
I mean,
in
hell,
the putting in the what's it called? Just like the free bar of soap.
yeah, yeah,
Remolding that free bar of soap. I mean, it's just thinking outside the box on all this stuff and doing it quickly. That is one
mhm,
thing you brought up, Jason Bourne, right? That is the one thing that I absolutely loved about those movies was just his adaptability was
yeah,
insanity. Just his
just
situational
stupid
awareness and
quick
his
thinking.
adaptability was just dumb.
Yeah,
So get to that point.
right.
This idea, this situation isn't all that far fetched, right? We
It,
we
none.
know there are tyrannical governments. We know there are surveillance states where this is a really big threat to you and your family. So,
Hmm.
thank God you're not in the current situation, but this is borrowed time that you should be preparing and not going nuts over it, but expand your mind, think these things through, you know, and in a given situation, just I don't know if you do it, but just play these mental games in your head. It's like, okay,
Right.
say I had, someone gave me their passport and I had to hide it for them because I'm, two floors, below their floor. But, I'm sympathetic to this guy. Okay, where am I going to put this? No one's seen me with this guy. They don't know I have it, but where am I going to put this so that it's safe and it's not going to, no one's going to find it? Just do these little things in your head. Just think it through. Doesn't cost anything. Costs a little bit of time, a little bit of brain power, but it'll help you get to the point to where you're looking at the world through a different lens,
This
which
is
might
completely
come in handy
applicable.
later.
Yeah, this is completely applicable to today's world because okay, take the hotel out of context. Imagine you're in apartments, the suburbs. Like the same thing applies. If you're having to leave this house and you have someone that's sympathetic, you could drop it off with them, or vice versa. This kind of stuff is very applicable to today's world because regimes become regimes for a reason. We're
Yeah,
not to get too preachy, but we are actually staring down one right now where things are getting a little out of hand, in my opinion. But these are the kind of skills we teach them for a reason, and they are very rapidly becoming applicable to the modern world. Like this is
absolutely.
not a problem for whatever you might think of as a third world country or a tyrannical country, whether it be Mali or uh,
Somalia, Kenya,
Afghanistan.
Ethiopia,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
Afghanistan,
South
Pakistan, it
America.
doesn't,
Yeah,
this isn't far away anymore.
right. Correct. This could be on our doorstep any day with the amount of people that are pouring across the southern border unchecked and undocumented, like military aged fighting males.
Who now have the same rights as we do in regard to firearms.
Which
For a
is
judge.
blows my mind. How the hell
Odd.
is a federal judge gonna rule that an illegal immigrant has the right to own a gun?
Odd. Without getting into a rant, so if you don't own a gun and train with it, you're an idiot.
Yes. Go buy a gun. Go buy 3 guns. Train with them. Train your
Train
family
your
with them.
friends. Yeah, hell yeah. That being said, guys, this was a fun little thought exercise, a
Rantisode.
TPG, if you will. You know, as I said at the beginning of the episode, make sure to check out Reaper11. So he's at Reaper Consultation on Instagram. He puts out a lot of really great stuff, and he's originally put out this thought exercise. And especially dive into the comments. Don't just read the post, dive in the comments, see what other people are thinking. Because the more thought processes, the more perspectives that you rationalize that you can encompass, the better you're going to be. You have anything else?
Man,
And we do plan on broadening this out. So this was hide and go seek sensitive items in a hotel room. We can expand this to vehicles, to homes. We can, put this out to undesirable persons, weapons, firearms, whatever. And we plan on getting into it. So until next time, be peaceful, not harmless. We are the Hard Time Strongman podcast, cheering up a very class of man. Stay in the fight.
stay in the fight. Check out our Discord, where we talk about all of the topics that we talk about in our conversations, but in deep dive format. We have a lot of members on there of varying skill sets, of varying proficiencies, all talking about all these topics, sharing their experiences. So join today and help us expand our knowledge base.
And check out our Patreon. Our Patreon, outside of just backing up all of our episodes for when we eventually get canceled, our patrons get access to our exclusive episodes, our pre-shows, our post-shows, our little tidbits here and there that we aren't really supposed to talk about. We're also opening up all of these exclusive episodes for people to individually purchase. So you don't have to get tied into a tier in order to get all that content. You can dip your toes in a little bit, decide you like it, then come and join us on that. We're having exclusive conversations, and along with the Discord, we are just building that community, building that skill set, that mastery, these proficiencies. And this, outside of our sponsor, is what's keeping the lights on and keeping all of this information, all these classes rolling for you guys. So make sure to check out our Patreon. And one last thing, guys, the world is better with you in it. If you're feeling suicidal or if you're in crisis, dial 988 or reach out at 988lifeline.org to get help. Someone's always on the line. So if you need a lifeline, remember 988. Stay in the fight.
Stay in the fight.